Good morning and welcome to Second Breakfast. This will be my weekly morning snack about all things special education and advocacy. So one question I get quite a lot is my student needs help and the school's not helping me. What can I do? I've requested an IEP, but I can't, nobody's answering. Well, I guess the first thing I always like to start with is tell me a little bit more about what's going on. Has your student been in the intervention or response to intervention process in your school district yet, in the school building? Sometimes those are called student study teams, et cetera, et cetera. But nonetheless, there are teams in place in every school that review students who are struggling and sort of put in place interventions to help them in the general ed setting before referring to special education. So if your student is in that process already and has been for some time, but yet there hasn't been any change, then I would say that it is time to move forward with requesting an evaluation for special education. So in order to do that, it's important to use the right language, send your request to the right person, as well as put it in writing. Just vocalizing to somebody, well, that still makes them legally liable if there's a disciplinary incident, which we'll talk in future second breakfasts about. It does not, or put some protections for your child in discipline incidents. Let me correct that. But it does not necessarily, in the brain of educators, speak the language of what they need to hear for an evaluation. They could say, are you asking for an evaluation? But often they won't. They miss the cue. So what you need to do is email your school's principal. Okay, so email the school's principal so that it's in writing that you're requesting an evaluation for special education eligibility for your child. That will set in place, that email, a timeline. And from that date, the school then has 10 days, 10 school days to get from the request to through drafting a plan for evaluation to getting your consent to evaluate on a read, what they call a read, a review of existing evaluation data. So they'll put together a plan within those 10 school days to then have your student evaluated based on the areas of need that you've identified or that team members in the school have identified through that process of gathering data for the read. Then the next thing that happens is once you've signed and consented to the evaluation as written there, so they'll go over the plan with you, make sure that you've got everything covered. They're looking at all the areas that you're concerned about. Then they have 30 school days from the date you sign the read to conduct the evaluation. So all said and told, that process can take about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on whether there's school breaks in there and how many days of school are off within that time period as well. So important to recognize that this isn't an immediate fix. It's something that can take a couple of months. And so in the interim, they will often continue that intervention process or start that intervention process if they have not already, just so they can get to know your child and what works and what doesn't work for them in the classroom. I hope that answers any questions people have about how to get a special education evaluation conducted in a timely manner. Feel free to comment below if you have any other questions or things you think I've missed. And I'd be willing to answer other questions that come from the feeds here for future second breakfasts. So until next week, I hope you have a lovely day.